Our money is changing. Do you recognize it? Are you living in accordance with that expectation though? I've spoken about this topic a few times in different videos. But as things continue to escalate, and the more acceptance it receives in the world, the more this subject needs to be broken down and understood. This is one very big agenda going on in the world right now, and most people are not prepared for it. There is a lot that surrounds this subject, and it's very important to have a solid footing on it, because if you don't, it will have dire consequences. On one hand, not understanding will have you severely left behind and vulnerable to the changes that the world has in store. And on the other hand, you may accept it too much and get trapped in their bait of bringing you in to their new world order. This is a subject that needs some serious review, and unfortunately, there aren't enough people, even in the truth community, that really share the truth about this new currency and economic system. It's actually unfortunate that most people in the truth community only see the benefits and are not in tune with where this whole agenda is actually leading us. When I heard about it over 8 years ago, I was very confident about it for two reasons. The number one reason being that I fully believe in Bible prophecy. And number two, after the Great Recession of 2008, I knew that the United States dollar was going to have a very short lifespan based on all the money printing they were doing. Bitcoin was the obvious answer to both of those topics, and I had instant conviction. It's this conviction and understanding that I want to provide today, in hopes that it keeps people awake, aware, and alert. It's time to understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies away from mainstream media and the rest that are just thinking about money, wealth, and prosperity. It's time to understand the full agenda. Let's begin. Okay, so it's kind of hard to know where to begin when discussing this topic. I have a very specific mindset that I hold on to when I talk to people in person about this. For the most part, I really have two different audiences that I present this information to. We have the one group that are saved and are preparing for Yahshua, and then the second group are the unsaved that I'm just praying for. In the beginning of this, I will be presenting the information to both of the audiences, and in the end, I will show you where the break in the information and advice actually is. Now first, what is Bitcoin? Without all that technical jargon and unneeded information, all Bitcoin is a digital currency that is able to go from peer to peer, business to business, peer to business, business to peer, without the need for a bank or third party. All that means is that this money can be exchanged without the need of a third party. Now, it's completely digital, meaning that it's never physically held. It can be used worldwide, so there is no need to worry about currency costs between different nations. Also very important, the technology blockchain that it's used on provides a digital ledger that allows every transaction to be tracked and documented. So basically, what we have here is a global currency, completely digital, never physically held, that has a limited quantity that can never be increased, very much like gold, completely opposite of fiat money like the dollar, euro, and the yuan. It eliminates the need for third parties like banks. It eliminates currency risk, and all activity is documented and able to be tracked. Now, if you have followed this channel, I've spoken many times about the fact that the dollar and all other fiat currencies around the world are pretty much dead. The central bank system of money printing is done. It's at its final leg. I will not waste time re-explaining this. If you do not understand or agree, go back to my other videos that explain this in depth. Just jumping to the point, very simply, this financial system has been propped up too long by massive money printing, which has created massive bubbles, which will eventually pop. We actually just received word last week from the Fed that it will happen definitely by 2023 when they raise rates. So you should definitely expect it sooner than what the timeline is that they have given. It can happen in a number of different ways, but rest assured the bubble will pop and the United States dollar will implode, creating hyperinflation. The dollar implosion will collapse the global financial system, and from this there will be a major global problem. Again, if this information is new to you, I have made multiple videos that can get you up to speed, but this is not what this video is about. The point to understand is that there is a major problem with our current economic system worldwide. There are too many people walking around without this understanding. Our economic system is dead, but it has not come into full reality yet because we are being primed to accept the new system. And that's where Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies come in. Digital currencies will be the foundation of the new world that will be created after the collapse. There are many benefits that are easily seen, like the ones I mentioned earlier. Now, currently, the way things are moving now, there are other countries moving to create their own national digital currency. For instance, China has already launched theirs and has begun introducing it into their system, just not with full acceptance. And we now have the United States admitting that they will be working on a digital dollar as well. Understand, if there is nothing wrong with our money, there will be no reason for them to be making this transition. Now for me, when I'm analyzing things, I do not pay attention to the CBDCs, which stands for Central Bank Digital Currencies. Let me explain why. In understanding crypto, you can't look at things in terms of today, but tomorrow. You must look at what the digital currencies were purposed for and what they are going to replace. How long did the typewriter last after the invention of computers? How many people today have hardwired landline phones in their home since the implementation of the cell phone? Matter of fact, most people, excluding seniors, don't even have landlines in their homes. The point is, as technology improves and becomes more widely accepted, we see that the old tools that were used become obsolete and are replaced. So while always holding on to that understanding, when understanding crypto, you should have in your mind that things will change and certain things will be replaced. That starts with banks. Understand there's no reason for banks in a cryptocurrency economic system. Like I said, everything is peer-to-peer, business to business, direct to consumer. Very similar to how everything else is working. Think about it. Why is streaming so important today? Because they are cutting out the middlemen and companies are going direct to consumer. This will be the same with our money. When analyzing what exactly the future of cryptocurrencies will be, I guess the most important thing to understand is what the future is that they want to create. Let's just go over some of the characteristics. First thing for sure, they want a global currency. A worldwide currency that is accepted all over the world that not one country controls and not one country can manipulate. Everything in the world will be valued the same by the same measurement of value. They want something finite, like gold, that cannot be manipulated when the powers that be call for it. That's why Bitcoin is so favorable, because there's a maximum amount of Bitcoin that can ever be distributed. And the amount of the coins made available goes according to a specific time schedule. I think it's a maximum of 21 million coins or something like that will ever be created, and that is until the year 2140. There is currently only 19 million in circulation right now, so there's about 2 million left. And as the system starts getting implemented, you can see why they're cracking down on Bitcoin mining and all over the world. But understanding all that explains why Bitcoin is real and currencies like Dogecoin are not. Dogecoin is a joke and a play on those who don't understand cryptocurrencies. Dogecoin is exactly like our fiat currency system. It's just digital. It's a game of distraction that is being played on the public who doesn't really understand the future that we're headed to. But let me keep going. In the world that they want to create, they want something digital so it can cover all their needs for control. You see, with physical cash, it allows the ability for people to do things without being seen by the governments and authorities. I can hand you cash and nobody would ever know. Today, we are in an ever-growing police state worldwide, where our lives are all followed, monitored, and tracked. If that is news to you, it's time that you wake up. With the cash system, it allows there to be cracks in the system. With cash, not all transactions are logged and noted. Moving to a digital currency system, particularly through the use of blockchain, means every transaction that is done all around the world will be logged. No one can do anything without it being known by the government that's in control of all of us. I mean, just imagine you giving money to the poor. That's logged and noted. You can't even hand $1 to somebody on the street. Taxes are also taken instantly, and government assistance is given on the spot. It brings together the complete system of control. It's the icing on the cake that the world government needs in order to be fully in control of all of its citizens and know everything that's going on. In this system, it's easy to keep people tracked. and also very easy to kick them out. They can control the world by controlling our access to our digital wallets. Very similar to how the United States sanctions countries and individuals that don't follow its rules. In this cryptocurrency system, they can control our livelihood by taking away our access if we do not follow their rules. Then you will not be able to buy or sell, which would take away your ability to live. But let me not get ahead of myself. This is a system of control that is being built right around us that the general public doesn't see coming. Now let's get this straight, because this is where people get lost. There are so many people that look at Bitcoin as like a savior of their wealth. They are only looking at it in terms of their personal financial health. And being that they were the first to it before the price or value of it skyrockets, they are all very excited about it all. The thing that should be made clear is that the success of Bitcoin will come at the expense of the failure of the whole world, and there is really no way to understand what that will mean for each of us until it happens. But Bitcoin is not a savior. It is in fact a satanic tool created for enslavement of humanity. The story that we are given about Bitcoin is that some person named Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. He invented Bitcoin, implemented the first blockchain, and thus deployed the first decentralized digital currency. People love Bitcoin because they feel it's decentralized. Decentralized meaning an activity or organization controlled by several local offices or authorities rather than one single one. Basically, not just one governmental body controls Bitcoin. It's not controlled by world governments, and because of this fact, people feel empowered. They feel like the leaders of the world hate Bitcoin because it takes away their power and puts the power back in the hands of the people. That's just false. Let's talk about why. There's so much that goes on with that mindset and way of thinking, but it should not be your way of thinking. People need to really understand the world that they live in. This world system that we are all navigating through today was created by wealthy families that have controlled all industries for almost a century and a half. For over a century since they created the United States Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, they have controlled all aspects of our society. Often when I talk about the debt and the fact that the United States debt is over 28 trillion, a common question is, who do we owe this money to? It's these families that are considered old money that we owe. I made a video about breaking out of the matrix titled, Follow the Money. If you do not understand this information, you must watch that video to understand it in depth. But the world and its resources are run by a very small amount of people. Using their symbolism, they are at the top of their satanic pyramid. They have created the current financial system and world order that we have today, and all the fiat money that gets printed by the central banks, they are printing. They are, in fact, the central bankers of the world. Now I say all that to bring things into reality. People actually believe that this world that has been run by these people that are at the top of the pyramid, that have created our current financial system, the creators of our current modern finance, people actually believe that they are being overthrown by an anonymous figure named Satoshi Nakamoto, who is not even a real person and is known by all to be a fictitious name. They believe that those who have held power for centuries are now just letting the power just slip out of their hands because of this anonymous figure. It's completely naive. It goes along with the same thinking people believe that Donald Trump was actually slowing down the New World Order. It just doesn't make sense. People don't really understand the way the world actually works and is structured. But again, this is what people believe, and you will find a majority that are advocates of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies believe this strongly. Make sure you don't get caught up in that confusion and naiveness. Those people are only thinking this way because they feel that they are early to the party. The truth is that those who control everything would not make a new currency system that has all the features of control that they desire and not control it. I mean, I feel like that should be easy to see. Secondly, let's say for one instant that they did not control Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. They honestly don't even need to, because guess what? They control everything else. They control all the other industries from food, medical, travel, retail, etc. All major businesses that are staples of the world economy is in their hands. So even if they didn't control the cryptocurrency system, they would have control of it in a very short time, because as we live, we would be giving them our cryptos just to live. The point that I'm making is that you can never take these people out of the equation. This is not a system made by the people for the people. It is the next system that was created by the same people that have been controlling us for centuries. So as the world continues to spread that lie that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are actually giving power back to the people, please do not be naive and follow those lies. They have been printing and destroying the fiat currency system for decades now, specifically so they can herd us into this new system that they've created that provides all the controls that they need and desire. The next part of understanding crypto is viewing it from the right perspective. So many people look at the value of crypto today and put it in perspective to their national currency. Like in the United States, we watch the value of it fluctuate. Right now it's between 30 and 40K. People get so happy about the price, but that's only because they are looking at it in the mindset of the old system. People look at it from a mindset of how many dollars one Bitcoin would get them. But if you understand Bitcoin, you will understand that that's the wrong view. It should be looked at in the complete opposite way. The higher you see the value of cryptocurrencies go, is not a good thing for the world. It's a horrible thing. The proper view is not how much Bitcoin is gaining in value, but how much the dollar and the other fiat currencies are losing theirs. Now, if you're playing the game and playing around in this false system because you understand it, I'm not saying that there aren't short-term gains to be made. All I'm saying is that the way that everyone views it keeps them from fully understanding what is actually happening. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will not be a system that runs parallel with our fiat currency system. Therefore, looking at it in the terms of dollars is wrong. I follow the value of Bitcoin according to the dollar as a sort of expiring time clock. The higher it goes in value in reference to the United States dollar, the closer we are to seeing an implosion of the United States dollar. People are expecting Bitcoin to hit 100K this year. But for me, I do not see this happening without the dollar collapsing as well. There's no way for a currency to elevate itself in value over the dollar like that without a major correction happening. Third thing you need to understand is that the mainstream is in on it. They just are not telling you. I watch CNBC pretty much every day. And over the years, they have steadily progressed their dialogue about Bitcoin. They actually talk about its real purpose, but don't say it in simple ways so that the everyday public would understand. When hearing the media talk about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, listen out for words that talk about its true meaning, like inflation, inflationary pressures, hedging, words like that. You will see that they know exactly what the purpose of owning cryptocurrencies is for today. It is the hedge against the falling fiat currency system.
I'm all for it. I think it's almost irresponsible not to include it. Every treasurer should be going to boards of directors and saying, should we put a small portion of our cash in Bitcoin? It seems to be an interesting way to hedge against the rest of the environment. Nice hedge against fiat currency.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are even getting paid in Bitcoin themselves. They know, and they are just doing their job by speaking about it while not giving away the full story.
Nice hedge against fiat currency.
It's like the masses actually need the media to say, hey, the dollar is going to collapse and everyone needs to buy Bitcoin in order to survive. They're not going to say that. How many times have you actually seen the government prepare us for some hardship? Or go back to the movies with their predictive programming.
About it, okay? First, the stock market would go. Then the economy, boom! The dollar, boom! And then pandemonium in the streets.
How many movies have you seen showing that the government and media does not give the full story because they don't want to cause mass hysteria and panic?
California is going down. Pack up the kids now.
They just got back. God, you sound like a crazy person. The governor just said we're fine now.
The guy's an actor. He's reading a script. When they tell you not to panic, that's when you run.
Seems to me that the worst is over.
They are controlling the narrative, and the only way to do this is by giving out information in small doses while they use keywords that only those paying attention will understand, or those that do not trust or rely on them to keep them informed will understand as well. Basically, if you are waiting for the media and other trusted outlets to tell you the truth about it, then you're going to lose big. So next question is, why am I telling you about it? And if the dollar is collapsing, isn't Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies something that you should own? This brings me back to where I started this video with when I said I have two audiences that I speak to. Let me first explain the biggest risk of Bitcoin, because if it was really just as simple as hedging against the dollar before financial collapse and being early in your investment before the price rises, then it would be a no-brainer. And of course I would recommend it, just like all the other so-called truthers do. But it's much deeper than that. And this is where discernment must come from. This is why I knew for certain that Bitcoin was going to be in our future. It's found in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verses 16 through 18. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. People love denying the validity of the Bible, but the evidence of its truth keeps getting stronger in our reality today. But yet people still try to write it off and look for other explanations. For me, I knew that in order for this prophecy to be fulfilled, there is no way for it to happen in a system using cash. Paying attention over these years, I have watched them transition us to a cashless system. From cash to checks, from checks to debit cards and credit cards, from debit cards and credit cards to chip cards and mobile payments. There has been a constant progression of conditioning us to not use cash. I mean, in truth, we're at a point where it even looks odd in stores that people even pay with cash. In order for this prophecy of the mark of the beast to be fulfilled, the world would have to be on a different financial system than we are on today. No one being able to buy or sell without the mark could only happen in a cashless system. And being that I saw them destroying our current financial system with exorbitant money printing and debt, when I saw the new currency that was being pushed out, it only made sense to me. Never had any doubts about it. This new financial system will not be about independence and liberation, but actually about slavery and control, but they will make it sound like it's in the best interest of everyone. People make points that because it's decentralized and against the central banking system, that is something for the people. But that's a lie from hell, and not something I could stand for and let it be spread without countering. We should expect worldwide legislation that ties each identity of every citizen in the world to a wallet by the use of biometrics and more likely a chip. But none of this can be seen now in this current world. This all comes after the collapse. You cannot see the new order until the chaos happens first. And with such a big change in the system, we should expect a huge amount of chaos and disorder to the system, so there can be radical change. We already saw how easy it was for the world to work in synchrony when the pandemic happened and everything shut down. That was like a dress rehearsal for the real shift. But I talk about the collapse often enough in other videos. My point is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will not be the savior of our humanity, but a tool for the mark of the beast. It's a way of fulfilling Bible prophecy. So now that I've gotten that point out of the way, let me explain about my two audiences. For the most part, I do tell people to own cryptocurrencies, but I am more adamant about it with people that are not placing our Father in the position of priority that he should be in. The way I see it is that those that are not aligned with Father need to have some kind of hedge or protection from the coming chaos, so that they can hopefully withstand the first blows. The way I see it is that they may need more time to see the truth and commit to it. For them, owning cryptocurrencies is a way of buying time. That's how I look at it. When the collapse happens, those that are completely unprepared will be very easy walked right into the new system and be forced through desperation and fear. I mean, if you just think about it, just recently, we see how easy it was for people to take an unknown drug made in less than 6 months. When people are hungry and desperate and without faith, they will do anything. So for me, I have always recommended cryptos to everyone I could talk to, while I also plant the seeds on Father. I have a view of just buying time for people to come to Father. That's really it. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how the collapse will play out, and I'm sure the script that they have written goes beyond my imagination. But I do believe if people have time and get to see that these things we were warning of were true, then hopefully they can find the strength and conviction to do what's right and submit to Father. I talk to my friends about it all the time, And if they are like most people, then it can seem pretty hopeless. They can only see making money and financial opportunity. They refuse to really grasp what I've been saying for years. From the time I have ever told them to buy, I gave them stark warnings, but yet they can only see what they want to see. All I can do is pray for them. People will judge and say, well, that's the devil's money and the devil's system, and we shouldn't have any parts of it. And to those who talk like that, I just tell them to get a physical dollar bill and look what's on the back of it. It's always been the devil's money and his system. All we can do is help people navigate through it. Now, people ask, should believers own Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? That's not something I can answer for you. I'm nobody. All I do is speak on what Father has shown me and places on my heart. For that answer, you have to do what Father leads you to, and that's the advice I give to believers, my main audience. Now, in reference to Bitcoin and crypto, the overall message that I give to both audiences is the most important one. If you do choose to own crypto, you must understand two things. When the collapse happens, you will only have a very short window to use them. And secondly, you must always be willing to lose them all. Let me say this clearly. This system will lead to the mark of the beast. If you are so attached to money and believe that money is your source and you can never imagine yourself voluntarily disposing of it or giving it away, then you should not own Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The future will require you to bear the mark of the beast in order for you to have access to the system. So the truth about Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies is that it is a cashless digital system that enables those that run this world from behind the scenes to have full access and control of every financial transaction in the world. Through blockchain, everything will be logged and notated. Therefore, there will be no way of them not knowing everything, all of our habits and what we do. It's very similar to how things are currently, but they're just getting rid of the cracks and holes. When the system comes online, it will be the major tool of assisting with the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Though it is a hedge against the fiat currency system, it should not be looked at as a way of getting rich, but a way of surviving the initial blow to the collapse. This is important. When you look at cryptocurrencies, always tie your view of it with the mark of the beast, and that will help you always keep a sound mind in regards to it all. Always remember that those at the top know. Most of the celebrities, business leaders, government leaders, news anchors, social organizations, etc., those at the top of the food chain know. This is why most of them have sold out, so they can have access to the system and be one of the haves instead of the have-nots. Because the world will be divided in this way. I should have explained that earlier. You know how they say we have a middle class in this current system? There will not be a middle class in the next system. You will only have the haves and the have-nots. And it should be known that most of the people at the top that will be part of the haves will not be your ally, and they have more than likely pledged allegiance to Satan already, just to be there. Stop focusing on the news and what they report on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Stop listening to people like Elon Musk or Mark Cuban. Don't buy into any of those headlines. If you know what the future is, then you don't have to be swayed by the day-to-day movements and headlines. Everyone needs to make sure that they stay vigilant and sober-minded. You can't look at the world through selfish eyes that only wants to see what you desire. You must look at the world in truth and understand that this world is being run by Satanists who have pledged allegiance to Satan to allow him to be worshipped by the world. Everything we are seeing, including Bitcoin, is in alignment with that. Everyone needs to make a choice on what's important to them and where they stand with things. I mean, it's plain as day to see that they are pushing a whole new system right in our faces. We are being transitioned into something new that they are not preparing us for. The main question for you is, will you be led like cattle to slaughter, or will you wake up and recognize that you need to get right with our Father in heaven? This is what Yahshua said. But take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and cares of this life, and that day come on you unexpectedly. For it will come as a snare on all those who dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch therefore, and pray always, that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. That's Luke chapter 21, verses 34 through 36. Remember that. He has warned us. But how many of us will listen and heed his warnings? There's so many that say that they love him, but so little that will actually show this by being obedient to him and listening to his words. This warning is real, and as I showed you in this video, as well with many other videos, the threat against us is real. How long will you stay asleep and let the world take advantage of you? It's time to wake up and be counted amongst the believers of this world. We will inherit this earth, and we do not need to do this by force or through our own might or through our own strength. We just need to detach from the evil one and be set free through the blood of Yahshua. We must allow him room to grow in our lives. He is our only option, and only through him can we escape all these things. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will not be your savior. Do not follow anyone that teaches you that they will be. Stop trying to come up strong in this current world system and start preparing to not be taken advantage by the one that is coming. If you stay strong and devoted to our Father, you will be fine. So the only question is, what are you going to do? Make sure the answer is, you will fully submit to our Father in heaven through belief in his Son, Yahshua, and you will be redeemed. Be blessed. Okay, thanks again for watching. If this has blessed you, please don't forget to like and share this video with others. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel. Elohim willing, I upload every Friday. Please don't forget to follow this ministry on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on my website, truthunedited.com. I'm so thankful for all of you. Thank you especially to those Elohim has placed it on your hearts to give, and you have done so. This ministry is really not easy, and your donations truly help. Your blessings truly support this ministry. Thank you for your obedience to Yah's call on your heart. I thank all of you for the support. Okay, thanks again for watching, everyone. I love you all.